What's good, YouTube? Sam Crow here, aka Scoop, back with the International Draft Masters Season 2, Week Number 8, and we're taking on Aki VGC, coach of the Portland Crobats. So it's always hype when we face off against Aki, one of our favorite players to play, definitely. One of the faces of Mount Rushmore and self-proclaimed GOAT of the format itself. Always, boasting and bragging and stuff like that, and definitely has some games to back up, the fact that he is really good at the format. So, yeah, always a pleasure. We faced him last season in the iDM, and we had a killer game last season where I thought my Fire EMZ Sunny Day Entei was going to sweep him, and unfortunately barely missed out on a knockout, and then my Landers Incarnate was actually unable to pick up the last few knockouts, barely. So now we're facing them again, the defending champion, facing off in week 8, and we've built a pretty fun team. So let's talk about his team real quick. Like I mentioned, coach of the Portland Crobats. He is the defending champion. He got whatever pick he wanted as reward for winning the title last season, and he chose to pick up McGierna once again, and pairing McGierna with Megalopony, Suicune, Crocodile, Licky Licky, Delmas, Z Nihilego, Z Talonflame, things like that, Quillfish, Avalug, and Gothitelle. So really terrifying squad. Like I mentioned, he has Z Nihilego, which is pretty scary. Pretty much the same team he had last time, just a few minor changes, very minor things that he changed about his team. He is 6-1 going into the battle. He's only lost one match. I think that was in week 3, and he's back on his win streak now. We are coming off a loss. We were on a win streak. We were on a 4-game win streak, and now we're sitting at 5-2 with a plus 11 differential, still up there in the rankings. And now we're facing off against the number 1 team in the league, which is pretty dope. Our team is Tapu Koko, Mamoswine, Hoopa Unbound, Z Bronzong, Z Volcarona, Serena, Seismitoad, Mian Xiao, Mandibuzz, Mini Hippo, and the Mega Garchomp. And we're choosing to bring, as you can see on screen, Tapu Koko, Bronzong, Serena, Seismitoad, and Mandibuzz, with Mian Xiao being our last month. So Mian Xiao actually matches up very well against my opponent. Tapu Koko does as well. He only has 1 resist to Thunderbolt, which is his immunity in Crocodile, which does not appreciate Dazzling Gleam. So really cool there. We're bringing a Choice Scarf variant, basically because it outspeeds Megalopony. It outspeeds all of his potential Choice Scarf users, Crocodile, Nihilego, Gothitelle, and it outspeeds McGierna after a Shift Gear. I think I'm supposed to have 168 EVs in speed and less in HP. I think it was 168 and 88. And that allows me to outspeed. I don't think this might be right, but I think I changed it right before the game to make sure, because I was outpaced. Like right before the game, I checked to see if I could outspeed Shift Gear McGierna, and I actually couldn't with this speed investment, I think. So I gave myself 8 more speed EVs and 8 less HP EVs, which is not a big deal. Choice Scarf, like I mentioned, outpaces his entire team. I can spam U-turn until Crocodile's gone. Once Crook's gone, I can spam Volt Switch until everything's in range of Choice Scarf Thunderbolt, and then I can spam Thunderbolt late game. And I'm packing the Toxic because it can catch things like Licky Licky and Delmize, which otherwise, pretty much don't really mind Choice Scarf Coco. And yeah, that's pretty much the idea behind this. Hopefully it can work out. Oh, might I say that this is week 8, and Aki and I are, like I said, 6-1 and 5-2 respectively. So we're pretty much, as long as we don't lose our last 4 or 5 games, we should be in playoff contention, no doubt. And there's 4 or 5 other coaches that are in the playoff race as well. And I think there's only one team that's fighting that might make it, might not make it. So there's that. And outside of that, the reason I bring this up is because Aki and I could play in the finals or quarterfinals or semifinals or something like that. And I don't think he's going to be bringing his best sets, so I'm actually not going to be bringing my best sets. But we're both still going to be playing super competitively and bringing builds that can win. Just, you know, not, you know, like we need to bring our best sets and play. We're definitely playing our A game, obviously, but just not bringing, what's the word, the best options, I could say, but still very viable options. So next up we got Bronzong, which is a Cobra Berry variant with Psych Up, Gyro Ball, Zen Headbutt, and Earthquake. So I have enough SPDF investment to take on Nihilego and Magirna pretty much for days. I got enough HP and defense investment with the Cobra Berry to not really fear Crocodile either. And so, Gyro Ball hits Mega Lopunny pretty hard, especially since it's so fast. Zen Headbutt also hits the Mega Lopunny if, like, he's trying to, get cheeky or anything like that. Zen Headbutt also hits things like Quillfish and Nihilego. Mostly the Quillfish because Gyro Ball hits Nihilego pretty fine. Earthquake is there because it hits things like Magirna. Like, if Magirna is not a Shift Gear variant, then Earthquake actually does more than Gyro Ball does. So that's pretty dope. But if it is a Shift Gear variant, then Gyro Ball is actually doing a ton to Magirna with 40 HP or 40 attack investment, I should say. And also, if he's like a Calm Mind variant, I can Psych Up and still a stat boost and become just as boosted as he is and not really see a change in what's going on. It'd be similar to being like the Unaware variant of Clefable or something like that. Like I mentioned, take hits from Mega Lopunny, Magirna, Nihilego, Leaky if I have to, Quillfish if I have to. Takes hits from Gothitelle pretty well, as long as it's not like a Calm Mind or a Choice Specs variant with, like, even if it's Choice Specs Shadow Ball, I'm still not I am 3-hit KO'd, but I'm not 2-hit KO'd. And can do pretty good damage back with Gyro Ball. I guess, to an extent. But yeah, next up we're bringing Serena, a Leftovers variant with the Queenly Majesty. So Queenly Majesty allows me to avoid hits from like Gale Wings, Brave Bird, Talonflame. Like if it's at full and it's got priority Brave Bird, it can't hit me because I avoid priority moves. I also avoid Fake Out and Quick Attack from from Mega Lopunny. And I think that's the only priority he gets on his team outside of things like Quick Attack. So Drop Kick's there for the Suicune, obviously. Pretty good check to Suicune. I have enough SPDF investment to take a +1, +2 Ice Beam from Suicune, and can threaten it back with Drop Kick. I also have Knockoff because he has some like pretty cool switch-ins to this thing, like Talonflame and Delmise, which I can potentially get rid of their item. Getting rid of items on Licky and Suicune, potentially Magirna, Quillfish, Gothitelle. It's all really good for the rest of my team. I have Synthesis for longevity and Rapid Spin to get rid of rocks to further support Mana Buzz, Tapu Koko, and Mian Chao being a Volt Turn core, and then Mana Buzz being, one of my more defensive backbones. So yeah, that's the idea behind that. I do not name Serena yet, still. I do not remember what I wanted to name it at the beginning of the season and have not found a worthy name yet. And it's not proven itself worthy of a name yet either, so there's that. So yeah, we got a nice mixed defense Serena here and can actually take a hit from Mega Lopunny as well. I think I can avoid a 2-hit KO from Jolly Lopunny depending on rolls. So next up we got Seismitoad. We got a Leftovers variant here with Water Absorb. Pretty much walls Suicune. It also can take hits from Nihilego, Talonflame, Magirna. It can take hits from Magirna and like threaten it with Earthquake. Stealth Rocks obviously threatens, Talonflame. It puts pressure on his team if he's switching around and stuff like that. Things that are catching potential wishes. It forces him to defog or Delmise to Rapid Spin and stuff like that. Can catch a lot of his mons with Knockoff and Toxic them as well. So then it's just basically spam Earthquake, and I'll be in a pretty good position now. I think Seismitoad's a pretty solid mon in this matchup. It actually takes hits from Mega Lopunny. Like I said, it's water absorbed, so it beats Suicune. Normally, let me throw that in there. Normally beats Suicune. It can get big chip damage off on Quillfish. Avoids Poison Jab. Resist Poison Jab, immune to Waterfall from the Quillfish, so pretty solid there. Avalugg is a problem. Avalugg's actually a problem. Its defense is insane. And outside of Coco and Mienshao, as you'll see, I don't really have ways of straight up beating an Avalugg. So, wonder if Seismitoad can land a Toxic on that bad boy. Anyways, next up we have Mandibuzz with an Overcoat ability. Taunt, Foul Play, Roost, and Whirlwind. We're packing the Taunt because I can taunt things like Suicune, Slow, Crook, got the Licky Licky, Delmise, anything like that, Quillfish, can prevent Stealth Rocks, Toxic Spikes, things like that. Gothitelle as well could come in on a taunt and then be forced to attack, and like if he's a trick, if he's like a Scarf or a choice item trick variant, he'd be forced to attack if I taunt him. And then Foul Play hits, Mega Lopunny decently hard. Talonflame. I guess Foul Play wasn't the best play, or Bring. I guess I could have brought something more like Brave Bird or I'm not real sure. Really, I think this might be the best set. And I'm max defense, max HP because this allows me to not be 2-hit KO'd by Mega Lopunny after Stealth Rocks, unless he's adamant. Pretty solid check to Crocodile as well. And with Taunt, I can prevent it from setting up too much, unless he also has Taunt, which would be cool. And then, like I mentioned, as long as Licky Licky's not oblivious, I can prevent Wish passing and stuff like that. He could be Cloud 9 Licky Licky because I do have Sand. I do have like Sand offense with Garchomp and Hippo, things like that. Mini Hippo, that is. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind, I do believe. And I got the Roost for longevity, and Whirlwind because of things like Cosmic Power, Mega Lopunny, Calm Mind Magearna that might want to set up on me or something like that. I can just Whirlwind them out and then not fear them too much. And that's just the general idea behind that. And last but not least, we have our Choice Banded Adamant Mienshao with the Inner Focus tech. We're running Inner Focus because if he brings Mega Lopunny, he could lead with it, and he could think that I'm like a Choice Scarf variant if I lead Mienshao, and I could click U-turn and him switch out, or I could just click Drain Punch as he clicks Fake Out, and my Inner Focus prevents me from flinching, and whilst I will take damage, I will not flinch, and in return I will knock him out with the Drain Punch and get all the health back that I lost from the Fake Out. So I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty cool tech. I guess it has some actual merit. Like, it could have been really good in like, say we met up in finals and I brought this, it could have been like a really good bring. But I felt like it was more of a really, really situational thing that I just wanted to try. And if it works out, it works out. If not, then it don't. So we got the U-turn, the knockoff, and then dual stab. Not dual stab, but double stab with Drain Punch and High Jump Kick. High Jump Kick for the damage output, and then Drain Punch for like, if I know I'm going to pick up a knockout, like he's going to sack something off, or it's a guaranteed knockout even without the High Jump Kick, I'll just click Drain Punch, get some health back as well, and pick up the knockout in the same gesture. So that's going to be that. I have 100 EVs in defense, like I mentioned. It avoids like being chipped down and beat down by a Fake Out a lot. So, and I think that's the only reason I brought it. So that's that, and we can go ahead and hop into the battle now. Alright, so here we are with the replay, and my opponent chooses to bring the Magearna, Mega Lopunny, Licky Licky, Crocodile, Avalugg, and the Nihilego. So, first off, I noticed that his team is extremely weak to Mienshao. Like, he doesn't have a switch in. Everything's either O-code or 2-hit KO'd. Magearna and Avalugg being the only two Pokemon that aren't going to be O-code by like High Jump Kick or Drain Punch. And I also see that Tapu Koko actually can just spam U-turn until Crook's gone, and then can spam electric type moves. So the idea here at Team Prep was that Okay, Seismitoad actually leads. Stealth Rock Seismitoad, excuse me. Stealth Rock Seismitoad is a solid lead because it beats his two Stealth Rockers and like provides me rocks, so I can already win the Hazard War and be in a pretty solid position. Magearna is very scary. I don't think there's ways around Magearna being scary unless you just have the perfect check or something like that. So looking at his team, the idea was to weaken Licky Licky, weaken Magearna, get everything in range of Tapu Koko's Choice Scarf Thunderbolt, eliminate Crocodile, and then sweep with Choice Scarf Koko. To do that, though, like I mentioned, I need to apply pressure, offensive pressure. I need to get Stealth Rocks up. I need to get offensive pressure with even my defensive mons, and let me and Xiao do some wall breaking for me so that Tapu Koko can come through. So like I mentioned, I do think that Seismitoad is my best lead, and he does lead the Crocodile. So I do get the lead right. Well, not necessarily right because he can taunt me. Speaking of taunt, I thought about this play for a minute, and I decided I was going to click knockoff. Initially, I was going to click knockoff, predicting one of his switch-ins, but I figured that in the case that my opponent chooses to switch out or click knockoff or earthquake or hidden power grass or anything that he could have clicked outside of taunt, I wanted to click Stealth Rock and potentially get my Stealth Rocks up. And if he does click taunt, it's not the end of the world. So I'm just going to click my Stealth Rocks as my opponent does click the taunt. So nice play there. Here I'm just going to go ahead and click the knockoff as he switches out into the Licky Licky. And I get rid of his leftovers already on turn 2. So that's pretty hype. Prevents Licky Licky from being too much of a problem with leftovers gone. And now, like, I have revealed knockoff and Stealth Rocks, but that's no big deal. Here, my opponent's more than likely going to throw off a Wish, but he actually throws off Toxic first. So now my Mandibuzz is Toxic, which sucks. I'm going to double out into Seismitoad, predicting the Protect, and then just get, knowing he's going to click Toxic here, I'm actually going to click Toxic of myself, and then click the Stealth Rock. So that way, like, I got my Stealth Rocks up, and I got the Toxic on Licky Licky, and got rid of its leftovers. So now Licky Licky's super crippled, and I do have Stealth Rocks up. And, like, say I went for my Stealth Rocks first and then went for the Toxic as he switched into Nihilego, that wouldn't have been cool because I wouldn't have been able to get a Toxic off on anything. So I felt like that series of plays worked out in my favor. And now we're going to have Seismitoad versus Nihilego here, where I can actually just click Earthquake. But my opponent could have Grass Knot, so I'm going to switch out to Bronzong, my dedicated check to this anyway, and see what he wants to go for. And he does go for the Grass Knot, so not too bad of a play there. I can just click the Gyro Ball here. It's going to get chip off on anything, and he goes into the Crocodile, as I'm just going to hard switch out into Serena as he gets his Stealth Rocks up. So now I can just rapid spin these away as he hard switches into Nihilego. I can just go right back into Bronzong and repeat this process, this never-ending cycle of always checking Nihilego. He actually goes for the Sludge Wave there, maybe predicting me to want to over-predict and him maybe catch my Serena there. Knowing how important Serena was, it makes sense that I would potentially, knowing how knowing how important Serena was, I wouldn't risk it because it comes in on Crook all the time. It rapid spins for me and stuff like that. So I wasn't risking Serena. It also takes hits from Mega Lopunny as well. So I wasn't going to risk that. And my opponent makes an aggressive play, hoping that I would, but I don't. So he's going to go back out into his Crocodile, and I'm just going to click the Gyro Ball once again. He's eventually going to be chipped to where when he comes in on rocks, he's going to die to the Gyro Ball. And here I switch out, and my Cobra Berry prevents me from being beat down by the Pursuit, and I can just go into Serena here, click the knockoff as he switches out, and I get rid of another item. So leftovers gone on the Avalugg, leftovers gone on the Licky Licky. and big body Seismitoad back in. I'm going to double out into Mian Xiao, predicting his Licky Licky, and I get just that. So here I'm just going to click Drain Punch. He had revealed Protect already, so he could have predicted me to predict his Protect and just click U-turn or something like that, and he may have known that I wouldn't click High Jump Kick because of him showing Protect, so he may have predicted me to click U-turn, or just, you know, not really having a switch in, so Licky Licky had to go. So I just clicked Drain Punch there, no reason to risk High Jump Kick. Like I mentioned, when Drain Punch is a guaranteed knockout. So here he brings in his Avalugg, and even though he's weak to fighting and I'm a choice band Adamant Mian Xiao, this thing's defense is insane, and if he's max defense, I can't knock him out. So I switch out into Seismitoad here, and I'm going to throw off the Toxic, and I land it. I knew his only switch into Toxic were two Mons that were extremely weak to Earthquake, so it wasn't a huge deal. He's going to go into his Mega Lop here, and he takes the Earthquake and takes quite a bit of damage. He's going to be able to knock me out here with the return. It was a roll in his favor. I'm going to Mian Xiao here and bluff the Choice Scarf and see if it works for me, and it actually does. He switches out into his Crook, and I get the knockout with Drain Punch. Even though he has the Chopper Berry, he was too low to survive. And he goes back into the Avalugg, and I'm going to hard switch out into Coco here as he goes for the Avalanche. Avalanche, I must be hungry. So, my opponent actually takes quite a bit from modest Coco here with the terrain up. So he's actually going to be forced to switch out into his Nihilego, and I think this damage reveals Assault Vest. I didn't calc it. It did way too little for me to even worry about calcing. So I'm pretty sure that he was Assault Vest. And then this thing takes 9% from a super effective Gyro Ball from an invested Bronzong. So that was just insane as well. I was starting to like lose hope here. Like how do I how do I like in a potential matchup or rematch, how do I win? I do feel like I'm ahead in this match. I feel like we're winning, except for the fact that he has Magearna, which is terribly scary. Terribly. He brings in Megalop, and I don't have a reason to keep Serena, but I do have a reason to keep Bronzong. So I'm actually going to go into Serena here and just sack this thing off. Unfortunately, it gives Magearna free setup. So now I'm in a terrible position. I'm going to hard switch out into Bronzong immediately because I want to start damaging this thing. Like, this thing needs to be damaged. Like, I need some kind of chip on it, you know what I'm saying? And Seismitoad's gone, so I can't take any one hit and hit back with an Earthquake anymore. So I have to go directly into Bronzong and start clicking Earthquake to get some chip damage off. He does reveal Shift Gear, which doesn't help me when it comes to Psych Up. I guess I could have taken one. Well, as you can see, he gets the roll there with Last Resort. So he's a Shift Gear Last Resort set. That's his only two moves. And he's going to go for the Last Resort on the Mandibuzz. But I do pack the Whirlwind and I'm max defense. So I'm going to be able to prevent him from sweeping me with that. But here he comes right back in. Shift Gear's up and I can't Whirlwind him anymore. However, I can taunt him and prevent him from getting two Shift Gears up, which means that my Tapu Koko will continue to be faster. And my taunt lasts perfectly, or my taunt will last enough turns that I can sack off Serena, and it 100% dies to Last Resort at +1. So now I can go back into Coco, and with my Choice Scarf, I'll be able to outspeed and knock out the young Mag and pick up a 2-0 victory against my boy Aki VGC, self-proclaimed GOAT, and one of the best players in my opinion too. Picking up a win against him, picking up actually a nice clean hacksless match. It was really fun to play, and oh my lord, dude, when Magearna hit the field, me and my roommate was sitting there beside me, and I told him, I just looked at him and covered up my face. I was like, oh, it's game, man, it's game, it's GG. And he revealed to be actually, if he would have had maybe a different set, I think Shift Gear would have actually won there. I don't know if he needed Last Resort to kill Bronzong, but had he been able to get two Shift Gears up and knock out Bronzong like he did, and had other moves, Dazzling Gleam or something like that, he would have swept my team, which would have been scary. But had he had Dazzling Gleam and not Last Resort, he might not have been able to knock out Bronzong. So and then I would have been able to get more chip damage off. So, you know, it's, you never know. Anyways, we're going to pick up a nice 2-0 victory. We're going to be moving on to 6-2 with a plus 13 differential. We knock Aki down to a 6-2 with a plus 14 differential, so he still got 1 point better differential than us. But yeah, we're neck and neck, and yeah, we're going to pick up a win over the number 1 team, knock him down to, I think he's still number 1, potentially number 2, and we're number 3, but we're potentially number 2, and he's potentially number 1 still. So it's all a big thing. And Skyrise is up there too, so he could potentially be number 1 or number 2 as well, because he has 6 wins. Don't know if he only has 1 loss right now. He hasn't played his week 8 game yet, but yeah, we'll see when that happens. He does have higher differential than me and Aki both though, so that's pretty noteworthy. And yeah, so Coco's coming through again. Me and Xiao putting in work finally. Choice banded variant, and then really just had 4 solid defensive mons here, and just kept hazards up on my side, on his side, kept them off my side, used some bolt turns, stuff like that, and really come out with a solid victory with no hacks, which is I was really happy about that, and seeing Queenly Majesty come through at least once this season, which is pretty cool. So yeah, let me know what you thought about the battle on both sides of the field. Let me know what you think about Aki. Is Aki the greatest player of all time? Question of the day: is Aki the greatest player of all time in the Draft League format? Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.